Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering cost our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
Dob in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Well, good morning. The time being 9 a.m, I declare open the general meeting for the Gladstone Regional Council for the 7th, I think it is, of February 2023. Have I got the date right? Thank you, councillors. First item on the agenda is apologies, and we're all present, so there's no apologies. So I'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is messages of condolence. Do we have any messages of condolence? No messages of condolence. I'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is prior notifications of conflicts of interest. Councillors, any prior notifications? No. Well, I do have a prior notification, which I will read out now, in relation to the the urgent business. I believe there's a confidential item as well. Is that correct? Yes, it's G 6.1, which is the tender for 6623 Dawson Highway Drine Drive intersection signalisation. The reason for the conflict of interest is during the federal election campaign. As a candidate in the federal election, I was with Jim Chalmers and others who committed funding towards that project, and as council is the subcontractor for that project, I will declare a conflict and leave the room and hand over to the Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Councillors, any further conflicts of interest? No. We'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is the Mayor's statement on current issues. And I'd like to start by acknowledging our Citizen of the Year and our Australia Day Award winners. Of course, our Citizen of the Year, Susan Thorne; our Young Citizen of the Year, Ellie Hetherington; our Sport and Recreation Award winner, John Rosa; the Young People Sport and Recreation Award, Olivia Lester; the Arts and Culture Award, Clyde Cameron; the Community Event Award went to the Abobo Soldiers Settlement Centenary; the Community Volunteer Award to David Noy; and the Mayor's Community Champion, Cheryl Latimer. And congratulations to all those winners and everyone who was nominated. I know it can only be one winner, but everyone who was nominated in every one of those categories has just done so much for our community and so much for their area, whether it's sport, recreation or community volunteering. We thank them all for their service to our community and congratulate the winners. And of course, on the same night, we acknowledged and welcomed 50 new Australian citizens to the Gladstone region from 21 different countries. So fantastic to have, as I said last time, our new citizens being welcomed on the same night as we acknowledge all the people who have given back so much to our local community. We had Australia Day festivities for the first time at East Shores, and then in Rosedale and in Bullion, and of course right across the region there was other events as well. The Bulls Boots and Barbecue, the Calliope Rodeo on the Saturday, and just a bunch of activities for Australia Day right across the region. I know Agnes Water had a bit of a fun day down there as well. So congratulations to everyone who put on a fantastic event, and thank you to Kylie and her team again for putting on our Australia Day events across the region. East Shores was very popular, and I'm sure in 2 years' time it'll be back there again, but next year the regional event will be back in Millennium Esplanade. So the history was of course created in Gladstone on Saturday and on the weekend with the NRL Dolphins running on the field for the very first time against our Central Queensland Capras. And I think anyone who was there will agree it was just a fantastic day of footy, but a fantastic weekend of footy as well, with the coaching clinics and the All Abilities Clinic and the Sportsman's Lunch and everything else that went with it. But it was certainly good to see the Dolphins run on for their very first game at Capras. And as I said to the at Marley Brown, as I said to the Dolphins CEO on the Sunday, the best part was watching the kids run out on the field at half time and at full time. They did struggle to get them off the field after a while, but the kids from the Gladstone region and visitors really certainly had a fantastic time. And I think if the NRL would allow them to run on the field, they might be able to burn off some energy during those halftime breaks, and we might get a lot more kids back to the footy because it was just a fantastic day. Events coming up in the Gladstone region, of course, the Agnes Blues Roots and Rock Festival on the 17th to the 19th of February. You better get tickets for that quickly. The Community Musical Grease on the 23rd of Feb starts then, and then of course goes over a couple of weekends. And the Tenham Crab Classic is coming up on the 2nd of April as well. Just a few events to keep you entertained over the next few weeks. Now, Kylie, we have our special guest not here yet. That's okay, we will hold that. Yeah, excellent. Well, perfect timing. This morning we have some special guests in the gallery with us. Gives me great pleasure to recognise Brent Braddock and his career, a career which has spanned 5 decades, an incredible 38 years with the Gladstone Regional Council, Gladstone City Council. Brent joins us today alongside his wife Raylene, and I believe his daughters Danielle and Narina are here as well somewhere, but maybe not this morning. But certainly Raylene's with us, so thank you for joining us this morning. Brent commenced his career in January 1985 and has worked in several roles, including the ganger at the Tondoon Botanic Gardens, the horticultural foreman for the city, technical officer for parks, before stepping into the newly created curator of the Tondoon Botanic Gardens in 2005, a role he has held for the past 18 years. Brent's knowledge and experience was integral in the development of the Tondoon Botanic Gardens, no one can dispute that, for the past 34 years, and he has lived on site with his family. On behalf of Gladstone Regional Council, I'd like to thank you for your commitment and dedication in this fundamental role you have played, and it's not limited to, but let me mention a few, Brent. For the Gladstone City Council, the planning and the development of many parks and median strips, the planting of thousands of trees, the planning of kilometres of irrigation around the city and around the region, and for the Tondoon Botanic Gardens, your involvement in the development of the Tondoon Collection Database, which is still, to date, the only database from botanic gardens in Queensland that can digitally talk to the Queensland Herbarium, surveying the location of nearly all the plants in Tondoon, linked with accurate origin documentation, nursery records, and planting records for virtually all the plants in the gardens. Imagine that. Which can now be searched and viewed on a digital interactive map in the field. This is a highly significant achievement. In Australia, only the National Botanic Gardens in Canberra and the Royal Botanic Gardens in Sydney have similar systems. It's not bad for regional Queensland. The development of course, the Norb Gibson Herbarium, which now contains around 4,000 species collected from plants growing in the region, discovering 4 new plant species, as you do, and working alongside many volunteers and educating our region on all things flora. Brent, we wish you health and happiness and the best in your retirement, and thank you for your contribution to our community for the past 38 years. Thank you, Brent. We do have a little gift. We'd have a little gift, just a little acknowledgement. It's just a little plaque to say thank you. Yes, we just want to, hopefully you'll be able to stay and join us for morning tea shortly. I'm not sure what your schedule is, but we do have to go through the rest of the general meeting, but it's just been amazing, Brent. Obviously living at the Botanic Gardens and working there, you never got away from work. So yeah, look, our Botanic Gardens are what they are today because of the work that you've put into them, so thank you very much. All right, councillors, we'll continue to move on with the rest of the agenda, and that's the Mayor's statement. The next item on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes. Thank you, for the general meeting of the 17th of January 2023. Moved Councillor Churchill, seconded Councillor Trevor. Any business arising? No business arising. All in favour? That's carried. The next item on the agenda is the Officers' Reports, and G3.1 is the 2022 Youth Council Annual Report and the 2023 Youth Council Endorsement, and I'll hand over to the General Manager of Community Development and Events, Kylie Lee. Thank you, Kylie, and welcome, Melissa.
Thank you, Mr Mayor and councillors and those joining us from home. This morning I'd just like to introduce 2 of our officers with us today. I've got our new Manager of Community Partnerships, Bri Jansen, and Melissa French, who is our Community Development Officer looking after our youth portfolio. It gives me great pleasure to table this report this morning. This report is a 2-part resolution, one acknowledging the work of the 2022 Youth Council, and secondly, nominating and appointing the 2023 Youth Council. So just a little bit of a highlight around the 2022 Youth Council. We had 11 members appointed to that council over 2022, and they did an amazing amount of work. They are a formal advisory committee to council and have really contributed over and above this year. This year we had some significant changes to the way that we conducted Youth Council, thanks to the work that Mel has done, and we really embraced the asset-based community development approach. We trained our Youth Council in this particular methodology, and they delivered our first Youth Summit, which really gave us some insights into the key topics that our young people are interested in. If I can please just acknowledge the work of the 2022 Council and the active members, Taylor Bullen, Aaron Yee, Romy Malig, Stefani Semanu, I always get that one wrong, sorry Stefani, Chloe Sides, Alex Hill, Michael Vardy, Jessica Tom, Jessie Zhang and Emma Ralston. I'd just like to thank them for their contributions. It is a voluntary committee and they've done some astounding work. So some of the highlights that they have gone through in 2022, they did several learning and development exercises. They had some mentoring from some great people across the council, and thank you councillors for your involvement in the Youth Council and the information you've shared with our young people as well. We also had some community engagement training and some project management training. They attended 10 meetings throughout the year, and we had different general managers across our organisation shared their knowledge with the young people as well. They participated in 13 events throughout the year, which is amazing. The Mayor's Youth Breakfast, Clean Up Australia Day, our LNG Regional Community Consultative Committees, Shell QGC's meetings, our Saiki Shorebird artwork unveiling, Flourish, National Tree Day, our Anzac services where one of our Youth Council members actually presented at the Anzac Day service, Headspace, Base Camp and Youth Summit. We also have Jessie Zhang as an active member of our Saiki Sister Advisory Committee, which is fantastic. The Youth Summit did produce a key reflections report, which you have as an attachment, councillors, and I hope you've had a chance to read through it. I just invite Melissa French just to give us some highlights from that key report that will inform our future work with young people during this year in 2023. So if I can hand over to Mel.
Thank you. I'll have to use that.
Yeah.
So the Youth Summit was held in September last year, and that was designed and developed by the 2022 Youth Council. And the design of the Youth Summit was a World Cafe style of engagement where we had a focus on 6 main themes, which is health, environment, social issues, education, employment, and equity and discrimination. So from the findings of that day that we've held, everybody that attended had a chance to give their input on each of those topics. And from the information we've found on that day, we've developed this report with some key highlights. And from that report this year, that'll form the basis of an action plan for the 2023 Youth Council to develop.
Thank you, Mel. As Mel was saying, there is an action plan that will be developed. Given we had such a phenomenal response to our Youth Council nomination process this year with over 20 applications, we will use some of those Youth Council, some of those members to actually actively implement some of the actions from the action plan. So it's a great result for our young people. Moving on to our 2023 Youth Council member endorsement, we have 6 members seeking reappointment this year, which is fantastic. So we've got Romy Malig, Emma Ralston, Chloe Sides, Jessica Toms, Taylor Bullen and Jessie Zhang as reappointment. We have 5 applicants for their first tenure, which is Rachel Smith, Jacob Humphreys, Alana Raziki, Georgia Mossman and Daniel Trainer. I ask for Council's endorsement for the report and the membership and invite any questions.
Councillor O'Grady.
Okay, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to thank Melissa for organising the Youth Summit. I stayed till lunchtime and a few other councillors attended, but that was fantastic to get all those youth in the room and understanding. And I think, like a lot of youth just don't understand what there is in the community, so it was a great opportunity for them to learn about what else they could do within the community, as in volunteering and stuff like that. So thank you so much, Melissa, for organising that.
must mention Emily Costello and Rebecca Creedy as well, who were instrumental in looking at as well. So.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Yep. So thank you. Well, Emily was here. Oh, yeah. So yeah, thanks Emily and Rebecca too. Yeah, thanks.
Any Councillor Hanson?
I'm very happy to move the report, Mr Mayor, and congratulations on the Youth Council. And I'm looking forward to seeing more innovation coming from the group, as much as we can establish. So looking forward to that. So happy to move, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. I'll get a seconder. Seconder Councillor O'Grady, and then Councillor Churchill has a question.
Yeah, just a very brief question. There's a number of these youth councils around Queensland, be it nowadays. I'm just trying to work out from the Youth Summit and perhaps from an LGAQ perspective, if there is a pathway and or corridor for these young ones to show interest in standing for elected members or public life positions, because at the end of the day we do want the likes of these people, these young ones, to be perhaps the future of public life leaders and or decision makers.
There is a Queensland Government initiative to help young people who are looking into becoming, councillors or entering politics, which is the Youth Parliament, I think, part of Queensland. So not locally, but that Youth Parliament takes applicants from across the state as well. And we also did some work last year with the Office of Education as part of the Queensland State Government as well. So there are opportunities there through that avenue. But I guess on a local level, we sort of try to engage our local councillors as mentors and support and get them interested in that way.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa, and thank you to everybody that does a marvellous job. But perhaps it might be something, Mayor Matt, that you could raise at LGAQ, that because there are corridors federally and there are pathways state through the Youth Parliament that you've recognised, perhaps there could be opportunities somewhere in the future that there could be a youth advisory council to our board of the LGAQ at some stage as well.
Something to think about. We do have the Young Councillor Cohort, which is organised through LGAQ only this year for the first time, but that's for existing councillors, young councillors, to have a mentor of a councillor who's been around a lot longer. So we won't mention who some of those people are. Councillor, good luck, will we? It's under 35, I think, is our Young Councillor Cohort. I do have a question as well, but Deputy does first. So.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just in response to Councillor Churchill, the LGAQ does have the Young Councillor Cohort, which I am one, and I've got a mentor in the Mayor of Fraser Coast, as Mayor George Seymour, but we have had discussions with the LGAQ about, more broader reaching campaigns and education for members of our community, particularly young people that might be looking to represent their community. So that's definitely something that's on the agenda. Mayor Matt Burnett's a great mentor too, but he's a bit too close to home. So
yeah. And I've been appointed Liam Mooney from Townsville to be his mentor, which makes me feel a little bit old now. So thank you.
I think, Mr Mayor, too, that education could be given to those middle-aged people that are entering into local government as well. The mentoring system shouldn't just be for the young, and we are talking about the young now, but it should be for all new councillors coming through. If we can get to that stage, it'd be good.
I think it's called a mentor program, but it's more of an engagement program. So the opportunity was given to all councillors throughout the state, whether you're under 35 or over 35, to either be a mentor or a mentee, whatever the term might be. So, but it's a great opportunity just to learn from each other, around different ideas and points of view.
You did. Thank you. Mike. Oh, sorry, Councillor Muscat.
Thank you. I just wanted to, the point was worth mentioning. The LGAQ programs are for current elected people. So what we're talking about now is people that are not elected or might not actually want to become politicians. But in the past, we have put a motion forward to the LGAQ in relation to helping minority groups or people from other backgrounds that are currently or underrepresented in local and state and federal politics, which was actually rejected. So that doesn't mean that they're not doing work in that space, and that's while we understand that LGAQ works to support current elected members, to my knowledge, they're not doing anything that is to encourage, up and coming or potential candidates in the future. So, and listening to all these, this report and many others that we have, but right now this one, it just kind of highlights that we don't just do roads, rubbish, and some of those things. So when we go around and people ask, oh, well, what do I get for my rates? Well, we're actually supporting our young people do more and understand more and create a better, more educated and intelligent future population. So, and that is something that is not as easy to measure in rate dollars. So, thank you.
In relation to, at least without naming, at least one of the nominees is from Rosedale area, which is fantastic. Previously, we've supported that youth council member in terms of internet connection and digital connectivity, so ensuring that, so that'll continue as well? Excellent. So, yeah, it's so good because it can be quite easy to have youth council members just based in the city or Gladstone, Point Tenham, Calliope, but it's so good to see at least one young person from Rosedale has put their hand up, and I'm very rapt to see them on the committee as well. So I would certainly encourage them and encourage the youth council to have at least one meeting in the southern part of the region as well. So to be fantastic. All right, I have any further questions, councillors? As moved by Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor O'Grady. Put the motion. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the G3.2, the Community Investment Program, Impact Event Application. And I'll hand back to you, Kylie. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This morning we will also table a impact event application as part of our community investment program. I have Libby Catamol here with me as our community investment program officer. The impact event application that we are assessing this morning is the Rainbow on the Reef Festival and Fair Day. They first held this event last year in 2022, and it was a resounding success. It has had a lot of successful feedback, which we've also incorporated into this report for councillors. The Pride 2023 festival is the first of its kind here, and it is really creating conditions to empower the LGBTQIA+ community in the Gladstone region. The 2023 proposal will include an opening night with a welcome to country at the cinemas, a fair day at the GPC Parklands, as per last year, and a finale event which is still in the planning stage. Our panel assessed the application against our key selection criteria, and the application scored 68%, so part of our partial funding. We recommend funding of $21,250 based on 85% of the funding amount. Some of the opportunities to strengthen the application comes from more of a strategic funding plan and a little bit more information around the return on investment as far as an economic benefit to the region. I invite any questions from councillors.
Thank you, councillors. Councillor Branthwaite.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. This group last year, we gave them, what, $15,000?
Councillor Branthwaite, we funded $20,000 last year. Sorry, we did $15,000. You're exactly right. My apologies.
So, I'm just trying to do apples with apples here, what we're trying to do with, and I realise the event was very successful. I had other functions on that day, but you could hear from what was happening over the marina stage that it was a very good event. The likes of Under the Trees obviously taps on a different demographic, and how much do we give those ones this last year? No, what I'm saying is,
It's 25.
yeah, it was $25,000, and it was a much bigger event than what this one here is, and this one's just evolving. I'm just wondering whether that we should be just sticking with the 15 at the moment. This is only the second year, and here we are increasing it. And I thoroughly think the event will be fantastic, but we've really only got one run on the board so far. And I'm just concerned that I know that the matrix is sort of saying that it qualifies for 80%. But if they apply for 50 grand, will they get 80%? You know, that's my thinking. And I think looking from the outside looking in, I'm just wondering whether, you know, we should be getting more runs on the board before we start increasing things. I don't know how everybody else feels, but what extra is happening this year? You're doing a welcome to country, is that right? Sorry, not you, but the group is, sorry.
The event in 2022 was really their inception event.
Yeah.
And the additional funding will allow them to grow the actual Pride Festival itself. I think you make a good point, Councillor Branthwaite, in the fact that some established events do require less funding. They have access to other funding streams such as TEQ, for example, and have a really well-defined sponsor base. This event is very new, and it's for a target segment for our community that really doesn't have another event to celebrate their contributions to our community. So they're asking, their total project cost is $72,850.
Yeah.
So they are funding from other sources, but to enable growth in the inception of events, sometimes you do need to invest a little more and then potentially step back as they develop more strategic funding streams, which is what some of the commentary was when the panel assessed.
Do council do a lot in kind on top of this funding that
Not for this funding in general, but we do in kind when we support events with normally our PA equipment and our technical specialist capabilities through GECC, but not necessarily for an event like this.
Right.
We need to balance our in kind
Yeah,
carefully.
because there's one thing about handing over funding, there's another thing about all of a sudden we're giving another 20 grand on top of that in kind, which is, you know, if we're to do it with another event, we would use that. So, I'm just a bit hesitant in handing over increased funding, and I get that they're really trying to increase things and develop their event, and it is difficult at the moment to get extra sponsorship and established. I possibly see down the track that funding might decrease as sponsorship increases. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Muscat, and then Councillor Goodluck.
Thank you, Mayor. I understand where we come from in relation to increasing the funding, but I think we need to go back to what we actually doing here, and we didn't increase it. We assessed an application that we received for that amount of money with the information that's in that application. So we assess it following the policies that we agree on, and following an independent panel that I guess matches the information in the form and in the application with criteria, and this is the result. So we have many other events that sometimes ask for more, sometimes ask for less, and we are only to assess the application on what is presented to us. So I guess we could have this conversation about every single event that it's out there. So we assess increased funding because they request that. So I don't actually even remember that many times when we decrease it from the amount that is recommended. In fact, if there's anything we change, is we increase them. And most of the times I don't agree with that either, because it falls outside the process that we set. So, but in this case, I think it's great. There's very good suggestions as to how to increase that, the resulting percentage. So hopefully that's going to happen. And then there's the other thing in relation to what we want to see happening in our region. Sometimes it's not about how much it costs, but how much it returns, and what is that we do as a region and what decisions we make that lead us to have events like this one or like others. So if we as a region want to support events like this, whether we increase it or decrease it, I don't think that's the question. The question is, tomorrow we might actually want to make it bigger. So there's no reason why we can't fund it for more money or do it different types of support. So I'm very happy with the report, and I'll love to move it if there's no one else that moved it.
No mover yet. And I'll get a seconder before I go to Councillor Goodluck's question first. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Churchill. Councillor Goodluck question.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Appreciate Councillor Branthwaite's points on budgetary concerns. We always have to be mindful of that. But just context, I know that with Under the Trees, as you mentioned, and caveat, I'm the president of the Under the Trees, so I won't talk too much about it other than some facts, but I know in the inaugural year of Under the Trees there was $50,000 committed by council, and that has reduced. I do agree that, you know, there's a process in place. The application's been submitted. It's gone through the panel assessment. It's got the score. I'm happy with the recommendation. It's also interesting if you look at some of the commentary in the report around return on investment, I guess. If 1 in 5 visitors stay from outside the region, I think it estimates it could be up to $380,000 put into the community for that event. So that's a really good economic output for a relatively reasonable investment. But I'm happy to support the recommendation.
Councillor Hanson?
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Muscat's take on the way we use the process, and we should continue to use the process. If we want to move away from that process, then we can do that and make a decision outside of this forum. But yeah, very good report, and it was done exactly to the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. The previous year's funding, has that been acquitted at this point?
It has to be acquitted for eligibility for future funding. Okay. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, good answer, that one. Did they meet their KPIs as far as what the funding criteria is? And that is, in this particular instance, it's to draw crowds from 2,500 to 5,000. Did they meet that?
Their numbers were 2,000 people, which is 450 less than they initially estimated.
So that would be a no?
So that would be a no, yes.
Okay. That's fine. I just point out that their application of $25,000 is 67% more than the previous year. And reading through the report, I don't see where that increase is justified. But in this occasion, I am quite happy to support the officer's recommendation. And the officer's recommendation would bring that funding increase back to 42%. But in future, if there's going to be large increases from funding from one year to the other, I think there should be some very clear basis on how they justify an increase of that amount. Because when you look at it in a dollar value, that's one way of looking at it. But when you look at things in percentages, you read it differently. And I've always done that through business. I look at a good percentage, man.
Yeah.
And if the percentages aren't right, I go looking. So I do support this on this occasion, but in future I think we need more clarification on large increases in funding in the future. Thank you.
Councillor Cameron, I'm happy to include percentage increases. You make a really good point there. The additional money that they've asked for is really contributing to their marketing spend. So in order to get people to the event, they are requiring a larger marketing budget. So that's where the majority of that marketing, where that extra spend's coming from. But we'll take your advice around the percentages.
Okay, no further comments or questions? It was moved Councillor Muscat and seconded Councillor Churchill. I'm going to put the motion. All in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you, Kylie. Thank you, team. Okay, the next item on the agenda is G3.3, the sale of land. Hand over to the General Manager of Finance, Governance and Risk, Mark Holmes. Thank you, Mark.
Morning, Mayor and Councillors. I've got Elise Lehman here today, our Manager of Revenue, to help with any questions you may have with this report. So this is essentially our normal sale of land report that we have each and every year with respect to kicking off our debt recovery process. So this is the last step in our debt recovery process, and you'll see that along with we've had a reducing outstanding rates balance over the last couple of years, with essentially we got down to 3.5% at the end of last year. So that's seeing a lower number of properties hit this list on this occasion. So what we're seeing is Council's endorsement to commence the process this year. At this stage, we have 41 properties. That may reduce by the time we issue notices if there's been some payments. And in fact, 4 properties have come off since we've done that report, so we're now down to 37.
Questions, councillors? No?
I'm happy to move, Mr Mayor. Can I move that Council pursuant to section 142 of Local Government Regulation 2012 resolve to sell the 41 properties listed in attachment 1 to the officer's report for overdue rates and charges?
Thank you.
We just need those 4 assessments removed.
Oh.
So if
yeah.
you're able to read out those assessment numbers, if you have them, Elise.
Yeah. And the reality is you can only issue that notice when those people say you can make the resolution for the 41, but I can't enact that because you can't actually sell them because they aren't outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay. So is the motion valid?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me? Thank you.
Yes.
All right. I got 2 officers in agreement?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I have a mover in Councillor Hanson and seconded in Councillor Branthwaite. No further questions or comments? I'll put the motion. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. The next item on the agenda is G3.4, which is the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee minutes for the 30th of November. And I'll hand back to you, Mark. Thank you.
So, councillors, this is just a report bringing back the minutes from our last ARIC meeting that was held on the 30th of November 22. You'll see that it calls out a number of reports that were considered at that meeting, which were essentially the finalisation and the final audit reports with respect to our 30 June 22 audit, and also some additional internal audit reports that we've had along the way last year, particularly with our workplace health and safety, self-insurance, our event management and event cash handling and the like. Happy to take any questions with respect to that.
Questions to General Manager? I got a mover in Councillor Goodluck, seconded Councillor Grady. The councillors on the committee would like to add any comments? No? No? No?
Happy to.
Thank you. Oh, good.
Just one item there, item 7.2. Can we get more of an update on that and when that's going to be? When that is going to be? The plan is being developed, and when we can actually get that fixed, which is a bit of a risk to us at the moment.
Sorry, you have to bear with me when we catch up to 7.2.
So it's in the minutes on 7.2.
Yeah, so just open up the attachment.
Yeah.
It's South Trees wastewater treatment plant.
Ah, okay.
Just get an update on when we are ready to do and what we're doing with that. Thank you.
John, do you have an update from an operations perspective?
Can we?
Yeah, we're happy to close that off. We can report back offline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Might just add, there is a ARIC planning meeting for next week where items like that will be addressed in our planning meeting, Mr Mayor.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Officially a new chair. So since last time we had Kerry and she had her last meeting, we had a bit of a farewell and a thank you. But so yeah, as Councillor Camerson said, we're going to have a planning meeting next week or the week after, I think. Yeah.
Excellent. Beautiful. Well, sounds like that South Trees needs to be on the top of the agenda from what I'm hearing.
I'm sure it will be, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you. All right. No further comments or questions. I had a move, I think, was Councillor Goodluck and Councillor O'Grady. No further comments or questions. I put the motion. All in favour? It's carried. Excellent. How are we going for time? The next item, there's a lot of attachments and a lot to read, so I hope we can go through this one a little bit slowly. G3.5, the review of the property and leasing policies, and I'll hand back to you, Mark. And
Thank you,
welcome Mark Francis as well.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And our Mark Francis from our GM SAP will help with any other questions you may have with respect to our working of our proposed land transaction policy. So this policy is brought back for your consideration and has come through as a result of two policies, which was our corporate property policy and our sport and rec leasing policy. So essentially what we've done as part of those policy reviews and working with the business is looked at essentially the need to look at repealing those, but coordinating that into one policy. Probably not a lot of individual change, but we are proposing essentially that one policy, but essentially make sure that we're allowing flexibility in terms of working with those community groups and the like that come to us with respect to land tenure requests and dealing with them in appropriate ways. It does give a little bit of flexibility to our officers to outwork. You'll see there that we talk about our maximum lease terms in there. We had 10 years there to be applied. We can, by exception, look at extending that by up to 30, depending on the land use and the use that might be considered. But essentially what we are looking at is allowing that discretion to be applied based on the application and the strength of that application that we receive. But happy to take any questions.
Yeah, so with 10 to 30 years by exception, how does that get determined? Council or officers? I don't want to necessarily, I'm not saying I want it brought to the boardroom, but I just don't want to slow down. If we've had plenty of applications in the last couple of years where people have put forward reasons for why 10 years wasn't enough. So anyway, over to you, Mark.
So the suggestion is that it would be able to be considered by officers under the policy, so it would be a request within the policy. What we have at the moment is any request is limited to 10 years and has to come to the boardroom for consideration. Notwithstanding there are certain risks, one of the reasons that 10 years is as limited is that under the Land Act we do need to apply for reconfiguration of a lot and development application for leases beyond 10 years. That's a consideration that will be discussed with the applicants as they come through.
Just to confirm that all freehold leases will still come to council for determination, regardless of time frame. This, the extended ability for officers to grant to 30 years applies to reserves, but it also means that council are not going against their own policy every time they consider a lease over 30 years.
Over 10.
And I'm pleased you raised that, Councillor Hanson. It's welcome news. When I read it, I'm pleased to see that it's in there. Obviously, we'll see we're like policies, we'll see how it works, but I'm just pleased to see, based on exception, that there'll be the 30-year. You know my position on it, I still reckon 99.
Well, we did have them once upon a time. But yeah, okay, I'm happy to support it. I'll just read, there's 5 or 6 attachments, and I was going backwards and forwards. The summary page I'm happy with. The 10 to 30 years I'm happy with. I just don't know what I've missed. Is there...
And there's...
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's just that obviously there's two policies rolling to one, which I think it's a good thing. Reading... But yeah, I know, I get what you're saying. Sometimes you think, oh, did I miss that? And there's a lot of different things. The good thing is that we can always, come back and review it if there's any issues, and that's what we do here, review policies. And I find the language also in the proposed policy to be much better, easier, and relevant to the things that we do today. So I think I like the principles and how they word it. And in the past, they probably were good for their time, but they just seem to be a bit backwards and going around circles saying not much. So I'm also happy to support it. And in a way, I always, I guess, resisted the longer term, but I can see that we maintain the 10 years with exceptions and what we just said,
reducing the risk of us going against our own policies, which is something that it does, well, upset me. So yeah, I don't know if I help you in that, but I guess it is.
Microphone, one that we consider a lot as councillors, and as you know, I've been reading this particularly for a while and trying to compare the 5 documents that I had to deal with to make sure I got it all. And I'm happy with the outcome. And the fact that after reading all that I was happy with it, I thought, what have I missed? That's all. So, sorry, maybe maybe we finally got to an agreement that's fantastic. So I'll leave it at that. I think I'll end up supporting it now. Councillor Churchill, then Hanson.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Matt. We've got to where we should be, I think, and again, it'll see how it unfolds. I think the other contributing factor, and I think this is an extremely wise move, but the other contributing factor also at this particular stage is understanding the challenges that a number of our community groups, our not-for-profit groups, have in financial sustainability. So there'll obviously still be a lot of background work that needs to be done by officers in understanding, but this should be of assistance to them in going forward. And the other part that jumps out at me is funding their depreciation, because their ability to be able to secure external funding from any of the philanthropic areas and or tiers of government for infrastructure allows them to be able to fund that depreciation over that longer period of time and puts them in a better position for long-term future. So I think it's quite wise. Mindful that right at this particular stage, I think the CCC Crime and Conduct Commission has some recommendation recently that not-for-profit groups and community organisations and community bodies will become registered as lobbyist groups. So we'll see what unfolds from that. Let's hope that doesn't occur and the LGAQ will fight that off, and Mayor Matt will probably suggest it. But it is an inference that we need. It is an inference that we need to be very mindful of, and that's why you mentioned there before that the officers will deal with that and not a decision of the elected members, because if there is a change in legislation, we won't be able to make that decision. Anyway, I'm happy to move it. Sorry, unless you want to...
I had my hand up to make a comment.
Yes, you do.
Councillor
Well, I'm happy to
Churchill,
move it.
I was just a bit blown back up by that last little bit of yours, that's all.
But it's a fact. The Crime and Conduct Commission have clearly indicated that community groups, so they become registered lobbyist groups. They can't come to us as a council, you know, unless they're a registered lobbyist group.
Some people are just trying to justify their existence. Not you, Councillor Churchill, but other
I fully
people.
understand that, Councillor. But in the new proposed policy, in the lease term, it does spell out by exception of the 30-year terms. It does spell it out quite well. What considerations our officers have to take to even look at a 30-year term. So that's good.
Yeah, it does. Councillor Branthwaite.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think from everybody's point of view, merging 2 documents into one, 2 policies into one, is certainly going to make things a lot easier for not only the organisation to handle, but also decision-making process, and not going from one policy to another and confusing the issue. And as the Mayor said, I was looking over the 5 documents and trying to paint a picture of what's missing and that sort of thing, and nothing is missing. There's a lot of good work being done in this policy, so well done.
Councillor Goodluck. Happy to move? Okay, Councillor Churchill moved it, but I'll take you as a seconder if that's okay. Any further questions or comments? No? I'll put the motion. All in favour? It's carried. Rachel, you got that? Councillor Churchill and Goodluck. Okay, councillors, the next item on the agenda is G3.6, which is the 2023 Smart City Summit and Expo in Taiwan. And I'll hand over to the Chief Executive Officer, Lisa Dowling. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm going to very quickly hand over to Carly Quinn and Gary Scanlon, but by way of summary, there's an opportunity that's been provided to us to support an international visit to Taiwan, which is considered to be of considerable benefit. So I'll hand over to Carly to explain some more.
Thank you, Lisa. So I guess that was a good introduction. I might just provide some background and content as to why we see it as a good opportunity. So in November last year, the Gladstone region had a visit from a Taiwanese delegation. It was made up of 6 of Taiwan's largest energy companies and was accompanied by the Taiwanese government. Our economic development specialist was very involved in that delegation over a number of days here. Delegation was interested in the energy transition and the industrial opportunities that it presents. Taiwan has an enormous future demand for energy, and they're really looking for where are the opportunities that they are going to get it from. They were really impressed by Gladstone's ambition to transition and provide green energy and renewable energy into the future. And since then, there have been ongoing conversations with many of the organisations in Gladstone since that delegation. Also since that delegation, senior Taiwanese government officers have suggested and encouraged Gladstone to have a delegation to this particular summit next year. This year. So they started talking to us last year about coming this year. So what is the summit? It's Asia's largest smart city summit and expo, and it's a collective of smart city, renewable, net zero, innovation, all events over 4 days. The Mayor is tentatively put down to present at the Mayoral City Summit, obviously pending if we go. Austrade will be present. There are a number of other local governments in Queensland who are attending. So far we know of Bundaberg, Redlands City, Moreton Bay and Logan City. It's our intention that the Mayor would lead a local delegation with our economic development specialist, and so far we're talking to CQU who are already very interested, mainly due to the opportunities that are already presented from the delegation last year. GEA is interested. We're also talking to Gladstone Industry Leadership Group, Gladstone Chamber of Commerce to join the delegation. No one's obviously confirmed yet because it would be pending us leading the delegation. So we've been approved by the organisers of the event to be a sponsored delegation, which effectively means that the Mayor's flights are subsidised up to $2,000 US. All accommodation for all of the delegates, up to 5 on our delegation, would be included. The entry into all of the events for those 5 would be included, and transfers for all delegates would be included. Majority of the meals are provided at the event, but there would be some minimal ancillary costs associated with it. So we probably project that around about $5,800 would be the total cost that Council would contribute to be able to lead the local delegation.
Questions to General Manager or CEO, please. Councillor O'Grady.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I think there's a fantastic opportunity for the Mayor to go. It's sort of like a 2-for-1 deal, really. So, I think that's fantastic. So I'd like to move that.
Sorry?
Move the recommendation.
Okay, I'll have a mover in Councillor O'Grady, but we'll get a seconder before seconder Councillor Goodluck. Now further questions to the GM. Councillor Goodluck.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I just think this is a great opportunity. It's a vote of confidence in our region as well from on the international stage. The Gladstone region being the first region in Australia to adopt the economic transition strategy that we did recently. The focus on transitioning from carbon-intensive industries to renewable energies and all of the complex challenges that comes with that. And the delegation from Taiwan to our region, they've been impressed. Congratulations to Gary, and I know a whole range of other stakeholders that are involved with that. Presenting the Gladstone region on the world stage, and this is a part to get an invitation for our Mayor to go and present there. That's just a really great thing, and who knows what opportunities that might potentially open up in the future. And if nothing else, I think it was the Global Mayoral Summit, so there'll be mayors from all over the rest of the world who get an opportunity to see what we're trying to do here in our region, and that's such a great thing. So more than happy. All the best, Mr Mayor and Gary, and Gary, you set them up, Matt, you knock them down, or vice versa, and we'll see where we end up. Happy to support.
Thank you, Councillor Goodluck. Yep, thank you, and thank you, Gary, for coming with us as well, because he's got a world of knowledge in that head there that helps with the preparation of this report and presentation, no doubt. Any further comments or questions, councillors? Thank you. I'll put the motion then. All in favour? Motion's carried. It was moved Councillor O'Grady and Councillor Goodluck, by the way. Councillors, we don't have any deputations today. Any councillor reports? Yes, Councillor Branthwaite.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, the opportunities that are coming to the region and that the likes that we've just spoken about are quite instrumental in the future road paving way that we're going. Another one that I'd like to table is the stewardship report that, if I could move that this report gets tabled for this meeting, thanks. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm on the management committee for the Healthy Harbour Partnership Scheme, and it's been an amazing little ride for this small group that punches well above its weight. But this particular report covers all the little successes that we've been having within our region. So there's stories there from obviously the chair and the likes of Gladstone Corporation, the Office of the Great Barrier Reef. There's a supporting traditional owner-led monitoring on the sea country. There's also from the Gladstone Regional Council for the local schools that take up the next leap to prevent stormwater pollution. We've also got the GRC has also done its waterway plant restoration and smarter road designs to stop the runoff, benefits the reef. The likes of the Gladstone Ports Corporation, the Living Seawalls, and their seagrass monitoring partnership with a research 20-year milestone. Queensland Alumina, the 5-year QAL environmental strategy wraps up. So this is all spoken about in here. Fitzroy Basin Association and Seeker University with their fisheries habitat restoration ramps up in the Gladstone Harbour, so it's spoken out in here as well. The Australian Pacific LNG and the Seeker University, the local facility teaching the next generation to protect the harbour. Shell QGC, staff volunteers help restore the seagrass meadows. The Gladstone Power Station, NRG, responsible managing of their ash waste. And Boyne Smelters and funding initiatives for a long-lasting impact. All these things are spoken about in this report, and I do strongly encourage people to get a hold of this. They're available in various areas around our community, and have a good read of the good things that are happening. The Harbour Health Card report card is due out this month, and we're going to be doing a big launch of that for the region as well. So keep an eye out for that. But there's a lot of good things happening in this region, and this does summarise most of those. So I'd like to table that report. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Branthwaite. Any further councillor reports? No, what we will do before we move into the confidential section is we'll break for morning tea, and we can thank and acknowledge our guests again, Brent and Raylene. So we'll break for morning tea now. Councillors will be back shortly. Thank you.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering cost our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
dive in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering cost our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
dive in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering cost our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
dob in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, councillors. We're back from our live stream. The next item on the agenda is G6, which is urgent business, and 6.1 is the tender for 66 to 23 Dawson Highway Drawn and Drive intersection signalisation. I'll hand over to the Deputy Mayor as I've previously declared a conflict of interest in this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do need to move into confidential for this matter. It's an urgent business item. Can I get a mover that we move into confidential? Move Councillor Hanson, seconding Councillor Cameron. In accordance with the Local Government Regulation 2012, Section 254J, it is proposed to close the meeting to discuss one confidential urgent business item. That is item number G/6.1, tender for 66 to 23 Dawson Highway and Drinner Drive intersection signalisation, which will be closed under Section 254J. G, negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government for which a public discussion would be likely to prejudice the interests of the local government, as this item will discuss contract negotiations. So we've got a mover in Councillor Hanson that we go into confidential, seconded Councillor Cameron. I'll put the motion. That's declared. Thank you.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Gladstone Regional Council are committed to fostering a proud, involved and engaged community. The Gladstone Regional Council Community Investment Program provides financial support to local community initiatives, projects and events which promote community connections, regional enhancements, community celebrations and community education. For more information on the Community Investment Program, visit gladstone.qld.gov.au. Gladstone Regional Council. Connect, innovate, diversify.
Illegal dumping and littering is a concern across the Gladstone region, with over 134 offences in the last 18 months. Our region is beautiful, but there are a few bad apples that ruin it for the rest of us, and they need to clean up their act.
Commonly found items at illegal dumping sites across the region include car bodies and batteries, mattresses, tyres, white goods and furniture, and green waste. These items can be disposed of at any of the region's waste transfer stations, some of them even for free.
Illegal dumping and littering pollutes our environment, harms plants and animals, and detracts from the enjoyment of our public spaces. It can lead to stormwater and ocean pollution, with large amounts of plastic, sugar sachets, and cigarette butts caught in stormwater traps and grates.
It's cheaper for everyone to dispose of waste correctly. Illegal dumping and littering cost our ratepayers thousands of dollars each year in waste management and clean-up. It's also costly for our dumper, with penalties of up to $10,000.
We can all work together to keep our region beautiful and dispose of waste responsibly by placing rubbish in the bins, or even holding onto the rubbish until you're near a suitable bin, and using our local waste facilities. Don't be part of the problem of pollution. We want you to be a part of the solution.
From towns to the bush, illegal dumping and littering is everybody's responsibility. Protect our public spaces and natural environment by doing the right thing for today and tomorrow.
If you see illegal dumping,
Dob in a dumper.
See it,
report it, stop it.
Sign up to Council's disaster and weather event warning system. Receive alerts about emergency news, severe weather events and other public safety alerts via SMS or email. Registering to the disaster messaging system is free. To register, visit Gladstone Regional Council's Region Watch website and click on the Register for Warnings button. Get ready, Gladstone. Take the steps to protect what's most important to you. Let's be better prepared and protected for emergencies and disasters.
Thank you all. We're dealing with item number G/6.1, 10 to 66 to 23 Dawson Highway and John Drive intersection signalisation. Councillors, do I have a mover? Councillor O'Grady. We'll take Councillor O'Grady. Would you like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yes, I'd like to move the officer's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Grady. I get a seconder in Councillor Branthwaite. That Council endorse the Tender Evaluation Panel's recommendation to accept the offer from Durack Civil and delegate authority to the CEO to enter into a contract with Durack Civil for 10 to 66 to 23 Dawson Highway and John Drive signalisation, subject to the finalisation of contract negotiations and Council receiving sufficient funding approval from the Department of Transport and Main Roads to complete the contract. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? We'll declare it carried. Thank you, councillors. We'll invite Mayor Matt back to the room to conclude the meeting.
No further business. I'll declare the meeting closed at 10:52 a.m. Thank you.